When Hurricane Andrew came through, of course, we didn't get the devastation that really South Florida got, but we had some good winds and stuff blowing through the air here, and we didn't have not one leak at any spot in this roof, whether any seam, the edges, around the boots of the equipment, nowhere. Like I say again, as you can see, they're sealed in where no water can get inside this roof whatsoever.
Before we went into the big replacement project of 5 buildings, Duro-Last come up and took a sample out of our first roof that we put on. It was good as the day it was put on. Only thing, it was dirty. Took it back to the lab, and this is the report that we got back. We do carry a 15-year guarantee on all of our roofs. I'm looking we'll at least get 30 plus out of it.
I don't think we had any set goals. We thought it was a good item that we could do something with. So we started venturing outside of the state a little bit. At that time, there was about 280 roofing manufacturers in the country. Now it's down to probably about 35 or less. But the big players were the big rubber and vinyl companies, which some of them are gone. And we knew we had a better product than the rubber. We started right out making prefabricated sheets. At that time, of course, we've made it a whole lot more complete as the years went on. Now we have a complete system. Quality is the first thing that we look for. All the way through the process, from our roofing material, our workmanship, our trim, everything has got to be top-notch quality. And that's what makes us stand out from a lot of the other roofing companies. A lot of them go out and just sell price. We are a quality house. Everybody's an inspector, plus we have designated inspectors that check everything that they do. And these people working on the floor or working in the shop do watch everything that goes on because they don't want any bad quality going out of here. We do about 80% of all the roofers work in-house. And that way they get a lot better quality roof because it's done under a quality controlled environment.
Fabric itself came in big, long sheets from the manufacturer, and each detail was already cut and ready to be put down around all these stands that you see here. And it's fastened, I forget how many, 16 to 18 inches on each seam down, and just rolled right on out. And it's virtually watertight, better than even a swimming pool liner in some of your above-ground pools.
The main reason we go to prefabrication, when the roof is completed and shipped, we can warranty every part of that roof. So when it goes down on the customer's building, he doesn't have to run to 7 or 8 or 9 different sources to get his warranty covered. We cover it all.
As an operator of a lot of apartments, one of the last things that I want to worry about is the roofing system and the peace of mind of knowing that the Duro-Last system is going to perform well long-term and has a warranty to back it up is probably the best thing about the system from my point of view.
We go through 30 cycles of testing where the industry says 15 is fine. We do go through that because we figure our roof is going to be out there longer than most everybody else, so we need better testing. As the roofing industry gets more sophisticated and you're expecting the roof to be on for 20, 30, 40 years, you've got to have that testing to know where you're going to make sure that you're going to have it. I don't think it's something you can guess at anymore. It's something that you've got to test and know where you're going.
tired of roof problems. You patch them in the spring and you patch them in the fall, and it never goes away. John sat in the chair across the desk from me, and I quizzed him at some length, and I was very impressed by his presentation and his business acumen, and quite convinced that the claims that he made for his product were probably very good. So we went ahead with the roof. And ever since then, our roof has just performed very well, and we've forgotten that we have a roof.
We make our own vents now, our own plates, our own cloth for the roof. I don't think there's anybody else on the market doing a complete roofing system like we do.
Alaska has some of the toughest weather from a roofing perspective in North America. We have tremendous variations in temperature, we have tremendous amounts of precipitation, and we also probably have one of the shortest construction seasons anywhere. And on a given day in the spring and in the fall, temperature variations over a 24-hour period may be as much as 60 to 70 degrees, which creates a significant thermal shock problem for a number of different types of roof, but we've had no problem with thermal shock with the Duro-Last system.
The 200 and some penetrations they would be making for the new air conditioning system for the pistol range would have no effect on this roof, because every boot on every penetration was custom made so that it would cover the curb like you see it, and again, seal it completely in to where there would be no leaks.
We have some in excess of 400,000 square feet in this district. I can say that we have no leaks. We're very satisfied with the product. The people back us 100%. If we have trouble, they're here within hours to do anything we have. We've only had to call them twice in all the years that we've been dealing with Duro-Last, and just been super. Our relationship with Dick and John and the crew at Duro-Last has just been super.
Maybe in my lifetime, I'll never have to approach roof problems again.
Fire, devastation, loss of time, loss of business, loss of life. It's a tragedy in any situation, but especially for shopping centers and hospitals and schools. Public use areas where, in an emergency, a few extra minutes could mean the savings of hundreds of lives. With all the automatic detectors, sprinklers, other safety devices, we often overlook some of the basics. The choice of building materials can make a difference, and so can your choice of roofing materials. What you're going to see next are scenes from a videotape taken late one November night in Gardner, Montana. While most of the 1,000 residents of this small Montana town were attending a basketball tournament some 70 miles away, an electrical fire broke out at the gymnasium of the local high school. Thankfully, this happened at night, and there were no lives lost. As we pick up the footage, you can see here in the center screen that the gymnasium and the gymnasium roof were consumed in the blaze. This was the only portion of the building not covered with a Duro-Last roof. You can see flames shooting from the windows of this portion of the school, but not through the roof. This is the part of the building covered with the Duro-Last roof. In fact, the Duro-Last roof never did burn. It was lost only when the building beneath it collapsed. In the remains, we found sheets of the Duro-Last material with its underside melted from the intense heat, but the top virtually intact. In fact, during the fire, a bulldozer was called in to separate the elementary school from the high school by knocking out a portion of the building to keep the fire from spreading. The Duro-Last membrane was so tough, they had to put men on the roof with axes and chainsaws to cut it. In all, the fire consumed over half of the building. Without the Duro-Last roof, officials estimated it would have been a total loss. But this isn't the only case in which a Duro-Last roof had an impact on fire safety. Letters and testimonials from all over the country attest to the flame resistance of the Duro-Last material. And even though the circumstances are different, these reports have one thing in common. Duro-Last helped to prevent loss or total loss due to fire. They're building a new school in Gardner, Montana. I'll give you one guess as to what brand of roof will be specified for it. And with the safety of your employees, customers, students, and guests at stake, shouldn't it be your choice too? Duro-Last, the safe choice.
On September 21st, 1989, Hurricane Hugo slammed into Charleston on the South Carolina coastline, packing winds up to 135 miles per hour and tidal surges as high as 18 feet. As many as 12 tornadoes were determined to have spun out of the massive storm, adding to Hugo's destructive power. Buildings were smashed, trees uprooted, roofs torn off. In all, over $2.8 billion damage in Charleston and $4.5 billion across the state of South Carolina. When conditions allowed us to get out and examine the Duro-Last roofs, we found that while some sustained damage from flying debris, 129 of them held. In fact, even when part of the building was gone, the Duro-Last roof was still there. Here is a comment from Tom Reed, owner of the Harbor View Shopping Center, and I quote, "It tore off the entire 20-foot-high masonry blocks and mansard front from the Piggly Wiggly grocery store. To my delight, the Duro-Last roofing system stayed intact. I would never have guessed that hurricane winds between 100 and 125 miles per hour would not have torn off the roof. The rest of my tenant stores were all dry and back in business when the power was restored," end quote. And from Thomas McIntosh Jr., another building owner in downtown Charleston, quote, "I went to the rental building to discover that a brick wall had collapsed and many roofs were blown off and laying in the street or on top of other buildings. The metal roof was torn off the building adjoining mine. I examined the Duro-Last and it was intact. Not even one fastener had blown loose," end quote. And if you look at what happened to shingles, built-up roofs, metal roofs, ballasted single plies, EPDMs, CSPEs, and other thermoplastic roll goods systems, the Duro-Last choice seems clear. And again in 1992, a natural disaster rolled ashore in Miami in the form of Hurricane Andrew. With sustained winds of 140 miles per hour, Andrew left more than 63,000 homes destroyed. 175,000 people were left homeless, and millions were without electricity. But once again, Duro-Last performance standards were superb. Even though the roofs blew off of surrounding buildings, Duro-Last roof installations, as shown here after the storm, held true. And with each new test, Duro-Last, the world's best roof, proves itself to be the roofing system of choice. In fact, in Houston, after the 1983 devastation of Hurricane Alicia, the city restricted the use of roofing systems which utilized gravel and ballast because the gravel and debris from those roofs broke hundreds of windows. Even in the face of hurricane-force winds and massive destruction all around, the Duro-Last roofing systems held, providing their owners greater measures of safety and allowing them to get back into operation much more quickly. If a Duro-Last roof holds up under these conditions, imagine how long it will last under ordinary conditions. You be the judge. This or this. I'm R.T. Williams, and this has been a Duro-Last Performance Update.